The translator has used the word conscientiousness, but I prefer using the word heedfulness. Conscientiousness will come in the next chapter. Okay? So heedfulness means you should take care of the positive activities and refrain from negative activities, and you should be heedful in that. Heedfulness. Having firmly seized the awakening mind in this way, a conqueror's son must never waver, always should be exert himself to never stray from his practice. So, meaning that once you have generated bodhicitta, then make sure that you do not transgress the precepts, and make sure that you don't get distracted. Why? Because you made this decision after careful thinking. Even in the case of reckless action, verse number 2, even in the case of reckless action or of deeds not well considered, although a promise may have been made, it is fit to consider whether I should do them or not. Meaning that if it is a decision that you made lightly without much consideration, then still you can decide whether to do it or not to do it, right? It's up to you. But here in this case, you're talking about cultivation of bodhicitta, which is such a thing that the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have examined it for a long, long time. And you yourself also examined it about its goodness. So how can you ignore it? But how can I ever withdraw from what has been examined by the great wisdom of the Buddhas and their sons? And even many times by myself, I have thought about it. So therefore, how can I transgress this one? And if having made such a great promise, if I do not put it into practice, then by deceiving every living being, what kind of rebirth shall I take? That means even if you deceive one person, it is great mistake. So if you invite all sentient beings as your guest, having cultivated bodhicitta, now if you don't do the work, then this is cheating all sentient beings. So there will be grave negative consequences, right? If it has been taught by the Buddha that he who does not give away the smallest thing he once intended to give will take rebirth as a hungry ghost. For example, if I promise to give something small to you and then you are expecting that and then I don't give it, even that will have negative consequences. If that is the case, then if I should receive all beings after having sincerely invited them to the unsurpassed bliss, that is the state of Buddhahood, shall I take a happy rebirth? No. That's what he's saying. Shall I take a happy rebirth? No. Okay. Can you? This incense is a little bit too strong. अगर आपने मेरा नाक बंद नहीं करना है No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm sorry. Thus, for a bodhisattva is the heaviest of downfalls. Heaviest of downfall means negative deeds. For should it ever happen, the welfare of all will be weakened. And should others, for even a single moment, hinder or obstruct his wholesome deeds, by weakening the welfare of all, there will be no end to their rebirth in lower states. So that means when you see somebody doing good, then appreciate it, don't obstruct it. Right? Even if you're unable to support it, do not say that it is useless. कई लोग बोलते हैं ना कि कुछ अच्छा काम कर तो बोलते हैं कि ऐसे ही दिखावे के लिए कर, ऐसा नहीं बोलना चाहिए. If somebody is doing good thing, you should say, wonderful, well done. and a possible support. If not possible, then at least don't say anything, rejoice. If my being is impaired by destroying the joy of even one creature, my being is impaired, such a difficult language, which basically means if you destroy or if you harm the joy of even one creature, right, that will harm your well being. Then what need is there to mention destroying the joy of sentient beings vast as space? Thus, those who have the force of awakening mind as well as the force of falling from it stay revolving within cycle existence and for a long time are hindered in reaching the Bodhisattva level. So that means, on the one hand, those who have force, those who have the force of awakening mind, meaning that on the one hand you want to become Bodhisattva, you develop bodhicitta, right? On the other hand, you are unable to practice the precepts, therefore you will fall down. So in this way, if you mix the good things, bad things, sometimes doing good things, sometimes doing bad thing, then you will not make much progress. It's like taking one step forward and two step backward, something like that. You will never make progress, and you will continue to revolve in the samsara, stay revolving within cycle existence, and for a long time are hindered in reaching the bodhisattva levels. Therefore, just as I promised, shall I respectfully accord my actions. If from now on I make no effort, I shall descend from lower to lower states. So that means now is the opportunity. Now is the opportunity. Why? Now is the opportunity. Why? Because now you are born as a human being. You have this capacity to do all these great things. Now, next life, if you are born as a dog or as a cow or a butterfly or which one you like, butterfly, mosquito. So if you're born like into one of these, then you will not be able to practice. Even in human life, now is the time, especially for you young people. Now is time because your mind is fresh, you're very energetic, your eyesight is good, your ear is able to hear things properly. But as you grow older, then your vision declines, your capacity to hear also become poorer, right? Then you become forgetful, then it will be difficult. So now is the time. We do forget. Now this is a big question that has been bothering my mind. That I spent my whole life studying one or the other thing, especially spent a lot of time studying Buddhist teaching. Now at all, when you realize that I'm forgetting this, I'm forgetting that, then you start thinking, was that all useless? Not only when you reach old age, but even in your case, you might start thinking, जितना मैंने पढ़ा अब सब भूल रहा है, तो क्या फायदा हुआ? You might start thinking like that, right? So recently, I was thinking about that also. So one good news is that the reason that you are forgetting is because you are not remembering those things again and again. Even in old age, if you remember those things again and again, you are able to remember. I have tested it personally. I try to memorize new verses. When I was younger, I was very good in memorizing things. I had very good memory. So then old age, I don't have much time. I didn't do much, but I'm once again trying to memorize some very important like lines or verses, and I'm able to do it. But I have to do it few times so that I'm able to remember. Right? That's one good news. The second good news is, as I mentioned earlier, in old classical physics, they say that when you grow older, you will suffer from dementia. That means old women, old people's disease. That your brain will get hardened, and you will become forgetful, and there is no remedy for that. Now the new science is talking the opposite. The new science is talking about neuroplasticity, meaning that if you continue to get habituated to certain things, then the neural pathways remain supple, soft, and will not be forgetting things that you have memorized. Third thing, I read another very encouraging line recently, written by some Tibetan. He said, if you're at your old age, if you're forgetting things and then you start thinking, all those that I've memorized earlier, are this useless? It's really like saying all those food that I've eaten until now, are they useless? Right? They are not useless. Because of those food that you've taken, you are now alive, you're healthy. So similarly, the impact is there in your mind. So no need to get discouraged. This is how I encourage myself and be happy. Right? Although for the benefit of all every sentient being, countless Buddhas have passed away, yet I was not an object of their care because of my own mistakes. See, countless Buddhas have come on. These countless Buddhas have this wish to benefit all sentient beings, but still you are here, did not make much progress. So what is the reason? Can you blame the Buddhas? And the text saying, no, can't blame. Because it's you who did not seize the opportunity, you did not make effort. So if you personally don't make effort, nobody can help you. The Buddha said, I have shown you the path to liberation. Liberation is up to you. In the classrooms also the teachers will tell you, I have given you the homework. If you don't do the homework, you will fail. Same, right? So therefore one has to do it. Especially in terms of spiritual practice, one has to do it. In terms of mental practice, one has to do it. If it is an external construction, you can seek the support of other people. For example, if I'm building a brand new building and I manage to finish the first part of the building, first floor, then I get very busy. Then I request my friend, I'm really now getting very busy. Can you look after for constructing the second floor? He will say, yes, I'll do it. No problem. But in terms of your spiritual practice, you can't say, I have meditated for a long time on compassion. Now I'm getting very busy. Can you continue where I left? Nobody can do that. It's really like saying, I can't eat anymore. I'm very busy. Can you eat for me? I mean, he will say, yes, I'll eat for you. But that will not remove your hunger. They will not remove your hunger. So you have to do it. Therefore, also the Buddha said, I am your teacher, you have to do. That's what the Buddha said. I'm your teacher, I'm your teacher, and you have to do. I'm your teacher, you have to act. And also the Buddha said, the Buddhas do not remove the sins of sentient beings with his hand. Sorry, remove the Buddhas cannot wash the sins of sentient beings with water. The Buddhas cannot remove the suffering of sentient beings with their hand. The Buddhas cannot transfer their knowledge into the mind of sentient beings. But Buddhas can help sentient beings get liberated by teaching the truth of suchness or emptiness. So they can only teach. Buddha is a teacher. He can only teach. He can only show you the path. But if you don't tread, if you don't follow that path, Buddha cannot liberate you. Okay. So similarly, in our ordinary world also, we have every right to seek support from other people. But unless you work, you will not really see the real satisfaction, real progress. So that's why young people also, you should not just depend on the hard-earned money of your parents. Just enjoy them and sit in the house and don't study, don't work, don't do that. Well, you have every right to get some help from the parents, but you should start working. And here, I think in the West, there is, I think, probably good example in the West. The parents will take care of their children, but the child, reaches maturity, something like 20 or something years old, right? 18 or 20 years old, then they have to do their work. They have to go and do their work. They can't just keep on sitting with the parents and enjoy their wealth and take drugs and, no, you can't do that. right? Is there anybody who is doing that? So you, because it's your life, you have to. While parents are alive, you need to be able to take care of yourself, and gradually you will have children. You can't depend on the parents forever, right? And you can take the financial help of the parents to start something, so that the whole thing becomes sustainable. So countless sentient beings, countless Buddhas have come. They could not help you because you're on not making the effort. So similarly, if you continue to do the same thing, if I continue to act like this again and again, I shall undergo suffering in unhappy realms, sickness, bondage, laceration, shedding of blood, and so forth. So now is the opportunity, because the coming of the Buddha is very difficult, very rare. Having faith is very difficult. Obtaining human life is very difficult. And my being fit to cultivate virtue are scarce, right? So having found such an opportunity today, you should not miss it. If you don't do it, when will they be born again? And although today I'm healthy, well nourished, you're healthy, you're all healthy right now. Well nourished, you got breakfast, nice breakfast, unafflicted, right? Nobody's harming you, but still, life is momentary and deceptive. The body is a borrowed object. The body is like a borrowed object, but for a minute. And with behavior such as this, I shall not again obtain a human body. And if this human form is not attained, there will be only evil and no virtue. Like, for example, animals. They're also doing good in doing bad things, but they're not so good in doing good things, right? Fighting each other, animals also know. Having sex, animals also know, right? But doing some good things, they may be doing, but not so easy. And in this way, so if when I have the chance to live a wholesome life, my actions are not wholesome, then what shall I be able to do when confused by the misery of the lower realm? Then you can't do anything. Not only you have to be born as a cow or a dog, even in this human life, if you don't do the practice right now, if you don't study right now, then gradually, for example, if your eye is not able to see, and like, for example, in my case, and in case of many Tibetans, we were very lucky. We were more or less born at a time when we were like young, and His Holiness was also relatively young, and he used to give so many teachings, 2 weeks teaching, 3 weeks teaching, 1 month teaching. So we were a bunch of lucky group, we were able to attend all those teachings. Now then, there are those people at that time who did not show much attention to His Holiness teaching. Now they realize, I should have attended all these teachings. I did not. Now the only thing they can do is go and get his blessing, have his hand touch, which is very precious. But as I said, as we just now quoted, Buddhas do not wash the sins of sentient beings with their hand. So it's very, very late. So therefore, with your kind of health and youth, and when there are good teachers accessible, you should seize the opportunity. मौके क्या करना चाहिए आपको? मौके का फायदा उठा के छक्का मारना चाहिए. You know how to play cricket? Yes, मौके का फायदा उठा के छक्का मार दो. Right? Still now there are good teachers, so you should seize the opportunity, get teachings from them. Right? And if I commit no wholesome deeds there, but readily amass much evil, then for 100 million years I shall not even hear the words, a happy life. For this very reason, the Buddha has said that like for a turtle to insert its neck into a yoke adrift upon the vast ocean, it is extremely hard to attain this human life. If even by the evil of one moment an eon may be spent in the deepest hell, then because of the evil I have gathered since beginningless time, what need to mention my not going to happy realms. But having experienced merely merely that rebirth in hell, I shall still not be liberated, because while you are experiencing the negative consequences, you are again accumulating fresh negative deeds. For while it is being experienced, other evil will be extensively produced. So therefore, so if when having found such human life where there is freedom, leisure such as this, opportunity such as this, I do not attune myself to what is wholesome, there could not be no greater deception, and there could be no greater folly. Right? Then you are the fool of the fools. If you don't do this when you have the opportunity, later you will regret. Because people start believing in inner spirituality, dharma, only when they start suffering. So that's why sometimes it is good to get sick. It is good to encounter some tragedy. Only then you wake up. Then you start thinking. Thang demon du lu ala thala. Ga tokpo live du la urje pema. Did you get it? Anybody got it? There's a Tibetan saying which says, "Thang demon do lu ala thala." When you are traveling through a nice open plain, then you feel like singing lu ala thala thala chiwe, lu ala thala. Thang demon do lu ala thala. You're oblivious to practice anything you sing and dance. Then when you pass through a precipice or cliff, dangerous precipice, dangerous cliff, then you say, Guru pe masambhava. Guru मुझे बोलता है ना हम लोग नहीं बोलता है क्या तो ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. If you had remembered them always in your life, they will be there. If you remember them only on the occasion when you're facing difficulty, number one, you will not even be able to remember them. Even if you're able to remember them, very difficult then. Right? And if having understood this, I still foolishly continue to be slothful, so ke betenge. When the hour of death arrives, tremendous grief will rear its ugly head. Then if my body blazes for a long time in the unbearable flames of hot hell, inevitably my mind will be tormented by the fires of unendurable remorse. Having found by some coincidence this beneficial state that it is so hard to find, if now while able to discriminate, while I'm able to know what is right, what is wrong, I once again am led into the hells if you don't use this great human intelligence. So why is it that? Why is it that we are not able to do good things? Why is it that we are so fond of doing bad things? Why? Why? One, I told you, because roughly speaking, we say you are habituated with the negative emotions for a long time, for many lives, and not so in the case of the positive emotions. Right? Then people don't believe this. Again, they ask the question, why then? Why are we habituated with negative emotions, not with the positive emotions from long time? Why? It's a difficult question and difficult to get a proper answer. So my temporary answer, my temporary answer is because we were born long time before we were born animals. Animals used to enjoy sex and fight with other animals. So anger, attachment, those are there. Ignorant, of course. So we had inherited that. Our brain has inherited that. That's why we are fond of repeating the same thing. Same thing, not want to change. So unless you make some special effort The brain will not change easily, right? You're kind of get addicted, and if you don't understand, then look at those people who are addicted to drugs. They're not able to stop it. Why? Why they're not able to stop it? Because they get the reward. In brain, there is a called the reward system. Reward system that the brain gives that reward all the time. When you had this morning breakfast, did you get the reward? Did you get the reward? Yes. You are enjoying when you are eating. So good. Right? And then the kind of reward, that is fleeting pleasure, but they call it reward. But the reward that you get when you take drugs is 10 times more than the reward that you get in ordinary cases. 10 times more. So there is this surge of melting of pleasure. So much so that you just go into it and go after it. You want to do it again and again. Like, so ordinarily, we all have this habit of getting habituated with something. You know, somebody may be habituated with the coffee, some may be habituated with tea, some may be habituated with singing, some may be habituated with dancing and so forth, right? Right? So that when you pick up this kind of habits of having to drink coffee again and again, this is a habit, but there is a difference between habit and addiction. When you have the habit, then generally speaking, you will be able to control it. Now I've taken too much coffee, I will stop it. But if you let this habit go unchecked, gradually the habit crosses the boundary and becomes addiction. Then you become addicted, then you become dependent on the substances. Then you become helpless. Then because of this addiction to this particular object, you will not be able to study, you will not able to carry forth your responsibilities. You know, there is a nickname for the drug. You know the nickname for the drug? You know? They call it chitta. Chitta. Chitta means something like white or something. This is a name that came from Punjab, where there is so much addiction, you know. Chitta, right? Chitta means white? Huh? Huh? Anybody knows? Something like that. So I heard this story recently. So they call it chitta. And then in Leh itself, there is a rehabilitation center where a bunch of addicted students were there. So among them, there was one who is almost like the ringleader, supplying the drugs and things like that. So other inmates, they call him bodhicitta. Have you heard this? No, I heard it recently. so, so we are not talking about that bodhicitta. Okay? So the point that I'm making is you really have to be very careful. Get habituated with good things and don't get habituated with bad things. And occasionally you enjoy like coffee or something, then that is okay. But if you get strongly habituated, then the brain says, bring more, bring more, bring more. Right? I told you this story earlier. I'm going to tell you this story right now. Many years before, I had the privilege of attending the Mind Life conference in Dharamsala, which was participated by His Holiness Dalai Lama and some leading Tibetan scholars and scientists. So on that occasion, the topic was on addiction. So there was a lady from Washington. She is the director of a big addiction center in Washington. So when she made the presentation, she said, if you leave the brain in its normal state, like any part of your body, if you leave it in its normal state, then your brain and your body has some capacity to protect itself. Remember, this is very important for me. If you leave your body in its natural state, drink natural water, not Coca-Cola, drinking right food, not junk food, as much as possible, go out in the air, do good breathing, go out in the forest, do a little bit rock climbing, whatever. If you are with the nature and leave the body and the other parts of the body in its natural state, the body has natural capacity to heal itself. Very often you notice that there is a cut here and then bleeding, then gradually it heals itself. The body has that capacity. And the body has that capacity to give you the signal that you're doing something wrong. For example, if you never smoked before, and then out of curiosity, because many other young people are smoking, and young people really like smoking, then they think, I'm stupid. Just by seeing the smoke going up, as if something special. Not knowing you're destroying your lung, right? धुआं भर रहा है अंदर, गंदगी, like smoke channel जैसे बन रहा है. So because of this, if you're tempted and take the first few puffs of smoking, take the first puff of smoking, what will happen? You will cough, right? Have you that experience? You will cough. Why? The brain is telling you. You're coughing because the brain is telling you it's not good for you. When you go to a dusty place, you will start sneezing. Why? Brain is telling you, cover your nose, cover your mouth. It's not good for you. But then if you listen to your body, it's telling you what to do, what not to do. It's really amazing, this body. But if you don't listen to the body, take another puff, you will cough, another cough. Maybe for 2, 3 days, you will start coughing. The brain is repeatedly telling you, don't do this, it's not good for you. Don't do this, not good for you. But still stupid as we are, we continue to push and continue to smoke. Then you will stop coughing, which is not good sign now. It's a bad sign, which means the natural part of the brain has given up. And it's now saying, okay, do whatever you like. And then the addicted part of the brain takes over. And addicted part of the brain says, bring more cigarette. I need more cigarette. I need more cigarette. This is how you get addicted, you see. Then the natural part of the brain stops functioning. Very dangerous now. Very dangerous. Right? So therefore it is important to live your body as much as possible in its natural state by taking right food, right exercise, right drink and things like that. So drink more water than all this sweetly scented drinks that is sold everywhere now. Right? So don't get addicted, get habituated with good things. If you get perfectly habituated with good things, do good things automatically without any problem, just as somebody who is under the influence of the drug. Right? So that's why he's saying that then as though it really looks like I'm hypnotized by a spell. And if you remain like this as if you're hypnotized and continue to do bad things, then you will be reduced to nothing. Even I do not know what is causing me confusion. That's why you need to study. You don't know what is making you ignorant. You don't know what is it that is destroying you. You don't know who are these negative emotions, how destructive they are. And because of this, you continue to rely on them. You continue to run after simple pleasures. Simple pleasures. There is a big difference between pleasure and क्या मुझे क्यों देख रहा है बोलो there is a difference between pleasure and happiness. Pleasure is bonus, happiness is a must. If you get some pleasure as a bonus, it's okay. So long as you don't get addicted, you get some pleasure, it's okay. But it's just a bonus. Happiness is not a bonus. Happiness is a must. Right? Similarly, in the case of religious practice, good way of life is a must. Religion in general is not a must. Right? Good ways of life or universal ethics is like water. Water you must drink. Coffee, tea, if you drink, if you like to drink, you can drink, but if you don't drink, it's also okay, right? So religions are religions are like coffee. Forgive me to say that. If you don't have, it's okay. So from that point of view, I'm not saying you must be a religious person. I'm not saying that. The reason is, when you came into this world, what was the first thing that you did? Crying, right? Why crying? Why not laughing? Whether it's the Chinese child, Tibetan child, American child, Japanese child, no difference. The first thing that the child does is crying. And by crying, what do you think the child is asking? It is 100% sure the child is not asking for a lengthy teaching on Buddhism. I'm having pain. Give me a long teaching. 100% sure, right? The child is not asking for a lengthy teaching on Buddhism, right? But the child is asking for somebody's genuine affection and love. And then the love and affection that child is also asking is also not the business love, as I told you earlier. The child is asking for unconditional love. And the mother, primarily the mother gives that unconditional love, and the child is able to flourish. So what we are discussing in this Bodhicitta avatar is really not so much about religion, although it's from Buddhist texts, but it's a spirituality. There is a difference between religion and spirituality. Spirituality, again, I think is like water, you need it. Religion is again like coffee and chocolate and tea, whatever, not a must. If you have it, good, but if you don't have it, still, it's okay. It's okay, right? So the point is, that's why His Holiness the Dalai Lama has worked so hard to make this secular ethics program available everywhere. Secular ethics and this, sometimes we call it social, emotional, and ethical learning. Right? Right? So these basic good qualities are must, without which you can't survive. I mean, imagine a world where there is no love, where there is no affection. And the world is still, in spite of many problems, the world is still going forward. Population is still increasing, although so many are killed. Why? Because there is more love than hatred. For example, in Leh, the capital of Ladakh, In a day, how many killings are there? How many? Probably none. Sometimes maybe one, right? Very less. But how many are taken care of through love and affection? How many sick people are treated in the hospital with love and affection? How many children are taken care of with love and affection? So love and affection is not only something that is a must, but we are trying our best to live that life, right? The problem is, in the society, we don't talk so much about the importance of love and affection. We take it so much, granted. We take it for granted. This is something. That's why when we talk about teaching secular ethics, many people say, why we have to teach it? It is something that people are aware, they will do it. It is something they are doing all the time. Contrarily, when some negative things like killing and other things happened, war and all these things happened, this is highly announced and advertised. And that gives the impression that now the world is hopeless. It's full of conflict and killing, which is not true. Yes, all these bad things are happening, but therefore it is important to highlight the good things that's happening throughout the world, so that you don't sink into pessimism, right? Now, the bad thing with these negative emotions is, so he's saying that number one, why is it that I'm not able to do anything good, as if I'm, bewildered by a hallucination or the influence of a magic. But if you look carefully at these negative emotions, then you will be able to see clearly that we can remove them. We can remove them. Why? Because enemies such as hatred and craving, they have neither arms, हाथ भी नहीं है, पाँव भी नहीं है. They have neither arms nor legs, और बहादुर भी नहीं है, and are neither courageous nor wise. How then I have been slaved by them, right? And not only they enslaved you, but they already captured the headquarters of your mind, as I already mentioned. For while they dwell within my mind, at their pleasure they cause me harm, and we are not challenging. Yet I patiently endure them without any anger. But this is an inappropriate and shameful time for patience. This is not called patience. This is called cowardice. ये बहादुर नहीं है ये, कायरता है ये, right? Should even all the gods and anti-gods rise up against me as my enemies, they will be able to harm me, but they will not be able to lead nor place me in the roaring fires of deepest hell. But these negative emotions do that also. But the mighty foe, the disturbing negative emotions, in a moment can cast me amidst those flames of hot hell, which then met will cause not even the ashes of the kings of mountains to remain. So when you meet with these negative emotions, they will completely pulverize you. All other enemies are incapable of remaining for such a length of time. For example, if your enemy in the form of a human being, they will remain your enemy for 10 years. They'll remain your enemy for 20 years. Then you will hear, oh, the enemy died. They will not be able to remain your enemy for a long, long time. But these negative emotions, they have remained your enemy for many countless lives. And today also you are being enslaved them. So now today, if you don't go to the battle and pick a fight with these negative emotions, they will continue to, hello, कुछ हो गया. Hello. Ah. ठीक Hello. Hello, how are you? So all these enemies, human enemies, are incapable of remaining for such a length of time, as can my disturbing conceptions, the long-term enemy with neither beginning nor end. And in the case of ordinary enemy, if I agreeably honor and entrust myself to others, they will bring me benefit and happiness. But if I entrust myself to these disturbing conceptions, in future they will bring only misery and harm. While in cyclic existence, how can I be joyful and unafraid if in my heart I readily prepare a place for this incessant enemy of long duration, the sole cause for the increase of all the harms, all that harms me? And how shall I ever have happiness if in a net of attachment within my mind there dwell the guardians of the prison of cyclic existence? They are disturbing conceptions that become my butchers and tormentors in hell. Now you are making a commitment. अब मैं कुछ करूंगा जरूर. अभी तक मैं सोता रहा. अब मैं कुछ करूंगा. अब मैं जाग गया हूं. Therefore, as long as this enemy is not slain with certainty before my very eyes, I shall never give up exerting myself towards that end. Having become angry at someone who caused only slight and short-term lived harm, self-important people will not sleep until their enemy is overcome. And if while engaged in a violent battle, vigorously desiring to conquer those whose disturbing conceptions will naturally bring them suffering at death, men disregard the pain of being pierced by spears and arrows and will not withdraw until the day it is won. So in our ordinary case, even when you fight with your enemy, somebody does harm you, and then you really want to retaliate. And unless you pick a fight, unless you're able to defeat the enemy, you are not going to sleep peacefully. This is how we react. Then what happened with you in this kind of negative emotions? You are so patient. You are so patient with anger, so patient with attachment. And not only you are patient, you let all these negative emotions stay within the headquarters of your mind. आ जाओ, खाओ, मौज मस्ती करो, पहले भी किया था, अभी भी ऐसे करो. हाँ, मैं तो बुदुराम हूँ, मैं तो लाचार हूँ, कुछ नहीं कर सकेगा. Almost like saying, I'm helpless, I'm stupid, you do whatever you like. Don't do like that. That's what he's saying. Then what need to mention that I should not be faint-hearted, see, and slothful, even if I'm caused many hundreds of sufferings, when now I strive to definitely overcome my natural enemies, these disturbing conceptions, which are the constant source of my misery. If even scars inflicted by meaningless enemies in our ordinary battlefield are worn upon the body like ornaments, yeah, I met many people like that, I was fighting during the Bangladesh war, so the enemy hit me. This is the scar. So to show their bravery, they show this scar to show that you are a brave, courageous person, right? If even scars inflicted by meaningless enemies are worn upon the body like ornaments, then why is suffering a cause of harm me, who impeccably strives to fulfill the great purpose? So, meaning you should be ready to undergo some suffering. Even in ordinary case, just to get our food, we have to suffer. If a fisherman, hunters, and farmers, thinking merely of their own livelihood, endure the sufferings of heat and cold, why am I not patient for the sake of the world's joy? And when you were cultivating bodhicitta, you said, you promised to liberate all those beings dwelling in the 10 directions as far as the ends of space. Have you made this promise without knowing anything about your capacity? Thus, unaware of even my own capacity, was it not somewhat crazy to have spoken like that? But as this is so, I must. Anyway, since I've cultivated bodhicitta, since I said I'll do something, I must not withdraw. अब मैदान से बाकर में नहीं जाऊंगा. From vanquishing my disturbing conceptions. And to do this will be my sole obsession. Holding a strong grudge against the negative emotion. I shall meet them in battlefield. बस अब चल पड़ा लड़ने के लिए. But disturbing conceptions such as this destroys disturbing conceptions for the time being are not to be abandoned. That means here when we use the word grudge isn't grudge a negative emotion? So how can you say that you have grudge against the negative emotion? So this is answered by saying, but disturbing conceptions such as these, such as the grudge, will destroy the disturbing conceptions. So for the time being they are not abandoned, but that in the long run that should also be abandoned because it becomes a cognitive obscuration. It would be better for me to be burned, to have my head cut off and to be killed rather than ever bowing down. मैं कभी भी दुश्मन के सामने सिर नहीं झुकूंगा, ये बोल रहा है. To those ever present disturbing conceptions. And the good news is that in the case of common enemies, when you expel them from one country, they simply retire and settle down in another country. And then when they are able to strengthen their equipments and so forth, then they return and then they harm you, fight with you again. But the way of this enemy, the negative emotions, once is not similar in this respect, meaning that, as he said in the next verse, deluded disturbing conceptions, when you have removed them by the eye of wisdom and dispelled from my mind, where will you go? This is good news. If you remove the negative emotions, then it is removed. They will not go to America and strengthen themselves and come back. They have no other place to go. The place is only in your mind. You've removed them, finish. But still you are not able to remove them because your mind is weak. But weak-minded, I have been reduced to making no effort. So therefore he's saying, now you should for yourself find out where is these negative emotions are, where are these negative emotions are. If these disturbing conceptions do not exist within the object, for example, when you develop attachment to a particular object, is the attachment there in the object? Is the attachment there in the object? No. Or when you look at that particular object, then use the sense organs. Is the attachment on the sense organs? No. Is it between the two, the object and the sense organs? No. Then where do they exist? And how do they harm the world? They are like an illusion. Thus I should dispel the fear within my heart and strive resolutely for wisdom, for no real reason. Why should I suffer so much in hell? They are like an illusion, means like every object. Negative emotions also like an illusion. When you don't have the wisdom, then you see what is impermanent as permanent. You see what is selfless as having self, and then because of this kind of illusions, you are harmed. You are harmed. Did I give the example of the coil of rope and the snake? Yes, so that's it. That's illusion. That's illusion. Therefore, having thought well about all this, I should try to put this precept into practice just as they have been explained. If the doctor's instructions are ignored, how will a patient in need of cure be headed by the medicines? Sometimes we go to a doctor saying that I'm not feeling well, then the doctors give medicine, they don't eat it, right? By saying the medicine is bitter, sour. And then if you do this, how are you going to heal yourself? So therefore you need to practice. From the Bodhisattva's way of life, this is chapter 4, heedfulness. Cautions.
I want to know and understand the concept of karma and dharma.
Yes.
What is dharma and what is karma?
Yes.
Till now, what I know about these is that anything which is being done, which has been done, or which will be done, is karma, and anything which has to be done is dharma. So now I want you to remove my ignorance on these two concepts. Thank you.
No, in the case of dharma also, there is dharma that you have done before, you are doing now, or you will do in the future.
That is
But
karma.
not necessarily be what will come, no.
That is karma.
Because dharma is prevalent in all the three times. Karma is prevalent in all the times. Right? So dharma, when you do dharma practice, is a positive karma. When you do something against dharma, there is a negative karma. So such activities are there in all the three times, past, present, and future. Okay?
So my question is very simple. Why do we carry tengwa?
Right? Do we carry?
Tengwa money.
Tingwa.
And what is the importance of carrying it? And also, why there are specific 108 beads in it?
Yes. You are trying to grill me. You are trying to grill me, right? You know the 12 signs of zodiac? You know the 9 planets? 9 into 12 is how much? Huh? Yes. 108, see. The number 108 is because of the movements of the zodiacs and planets is related to that. Then why we use the rosary? The rosary, the round rosary symbolizes cycle of existence. Cycle of existence. And by using this ring, this round cycle, this ring of mala. Normally, you've seen monks debating. Then they get up and take the mala and pull it up like this. So meaning that I will help all sentient beings get out of the samsara, and this hand will do like this, meaning I will block the doors of the samsara. Right? So therefore, and then with this kind of remembrance, and then also the individual beats, leading to 108 numbers, is also a reminder of your practice. That if you just recite without a mala, that's also good. But if you know how many mantras you've recited, that will make you feel happy. I recited one round of the mala, 2 rounds of the mala, 3 rounds of the mala. I recited 1,000 something. So that will help you develop rejoicement. That's also one reason. So sometimes, when you do practice, you need some reminders. Reminders. Like the monks wear this kind of cloth, it's a reminder. Armies wear uniform, it's a reminder to let them know that you have special task of protecting your country. The police have different color. The hotel bearers, they have different uniforms. So this different set of instruments are to help you remember something, right? And sometimes with the mala, you also have some beads or something made from human skeleton. That will help you remember impermanence, death, right? Okay, next question.
Good morning, Geshe.
Hmm.
Did Shantideva follow the practices told in the book, as it was mentioned in the beginning of the book about his laziness?
Yeah, you're right. You're very, what do you say, incisive or penetrative, something like that. Very sharp. Huh? Perceptive, yeah, perceptive. Very good. So as I said, Shantideva was saying this not because he's lazy, but he want to practice humility. Practitioner, and the great practitioners, they practice. They'll not come and announce, "Oh, I'm going to practice." They'll never say. They practice. When he was in the university, as a university student, he was practicing and always keeping silent, remaining silently, thinking and practicing. And the other fellow students, they thought, the teachers and the students, they thought he's stupid. He has been given the name Busukka. Busukka means is a Sanskrit word, meaning that all he do is three things: eating, sleeping, going to the toilet. They give him this name. And then they also went to the extent of saying that we must teach a lesson to this lazy fellow. Then they built a big throne for him without any stairs. And then the teachers and the other students, everybody gathered and then told him, now you have to give a talk. So it is said, a little bit kind of mythical, but it's very interesting. Then it said that he stretched his hand and it became like a nose of an elephant. Then with the help of his hand, he pushed the throne a little bit lower, then climbed on it, and then he said, shall I give a teaching which you have heard before? Or shall I give a talk which you have never heard before? And then the students, to make, further ridicule him, he said, yeah, I know who you are. You are a very special person. So say something which nobody has heard before. They teased him. Then he gave this teaching. And when he gave this teaching, then there is a section in the wisdom chapter where it says, when there is no thing or no none thing, things like that, he's talking about emptiness. And it is said at that time he flew in the space and disappeared. He gave the teaching, beautiful teaching. Everybody was astounded, Then he flew and disappeared. Then people really missed him because they realized now he's such a great teacher. Then they looked around, where did he go? Then search and search. Then he was found in a particular place meditating. Then they requested them, where can we find this text? He said it is, written scroll, hidden under near a pillar. So then they are able to get it. Actually, it is said there are two versions, slightly different in terms of number of shlokas. Right? So that's the story. So he's not at all lazy, but he's acted like being not doing anything. Right? So many these scholars, they always say, I know nothing. Yeah. Okay. Next question.
Tashidelik Geshe-la.
Yes.
Geshe-la is unconditional, devoid of any sort of attachment. Then, as per what you said, mother's love is unconditional, right? But
No.
isn't that love in existence because of the
Mother's
relation?
mother's love is a little bit unconditional, not complete unconditional, because she's loving this child because she is my child. So there is attachment. But comparing to many other ordinary love, mother's love is much purer.
Uh, Yeshla, you are a very great Buddhist scholar. You are a great teacher.
Who said I am Buddhist scholar, great Buddhist teacher?
So, and you have a very good knowledge about Buddhism. Geshe-la, have you ever tried to search for enlightenment? If you have a very good knowledge.
Number one, I don't have good knowledge. Number two, I am not great scholar. Number three, I am not great teacher. I am none of this. And honestly speaking, enlightenment, nirvana and enlightenment, I see something not easy to achieve, far off. But I realize that a step taken in the right direction takes you closer to whatever good enlightenment or whatever good there is. You just start climbing, right? So some people. So now I'll tell you this another story, which I told the first group. The paradox of bow and arrow. How many of you had a small heart? So one evening, he thought that Buddha has been very kind to me. I received a lot of teachings from him. But there are a number of topics which he did not answer, so I feel uncomfortable. I must go to him and ask these questions again. If he doesn't answer these questions, then I will go and find some other teacher. Right? So with this attitude, he goes to the Buddha and they says the same thing. Then Buddha responded by saying, first of all, did I say that you should become my student? I'm not looking for students. You go wherever you want to go. And then as far as your question is concerned, kind of my answer is, listen to this story, he said. If there is somebody in an unknown place, shoots an arrow, and that arrow is a poisoned arrow, and you are struck by that poisoned arrow, right? At that time, what is the first thing that you will do? In other words, what will you do? You will immediately take the arrow out and take the needed medication, or you refuse to take the arrow out. Instead, you remain stubborn and say, if I'm unable to get all the answers related to this incident, before I get all the answers related to this incident, I'm not going to take this arrow out. So the related the related events is who shot the arrow, how tall that guy must be, whether that guy who shot the arrow has a mustache or not, how strong the arms of that person, by what material substance the bow and the arrow are made of, what was the speed when the arrow was coming towards me, right? So if you just continue to ask all the questions related to this incident, so many questions you can ask. And long before you get the answer, you will be a dead person. because of the effect of that poison smeared on the arrow. So like that, you see, I'm here to help a little bit, reduce the suffering of sentient beings. Therefore, I'm not interested about when the universe began, when it will come to an end. So there are a number of questions, metaphysical questions like that, which Buddha did not answer. Right? So that was the Buddha's answer. It's a really, really amazing answer. I'm here to address the suffering. Okay?
So my question is, when we chant prayers or attend any teachings, our elders often tells us that it will benefit us even
Of truth there because you not with the bad motivation. And this or spoken by highly accomplished realized beings. So they are kind of positively charged. Right? And therefore, and especially when you do the chanting, if you know the meaning, then while you're chanting, you're reflecting on the meaning, then of course it will be very impactful and very meaningful. Right? So that will it help you. But otherwise also, even if you don't have much knowledge, if you chant it, you are really chanting some very good. If I curse somebody, it will help, it will harm others. If you say nasty things, it will harm others. Yes. You're not throwing a stone or but if you curse somebody, it will harm. Similarly, if you say good things, it will help. That way. But prayer alone, basically prayer means expressing a wish that I want to become Buddha. I want to reduce my negative emotion. Oh Buddha, you are so great. You have so much compassion, so much love. So these are the contents of the prayer. So if you know the meaning, it is very powerful. If you don't know the meaning, I would not say useless, but not much use. So many people, they recite so many prayers, the meaning of which they don't know. And especially those people who have received initiations, Some people keep on receiving initiations after initiations after initiations after initiations after initiations after initiations after, so many initiations. Vajrapani initiation, Avalokiteshvara initiation, Guru Samaja initiation, Yavantaka initiation, Samara initiation. I mean, countless initiations recite this sadhana, like 10, 20 pages. So will you be able to recite all those sadhanas? That's the problem. There's a really big problem. So that's why then they feel guilty. Oh, I forgot my sadhana today. I broke the commitment. People helpless. So therefore, I think here the people really need good guidance. Good guidance is that it is not so much about the chanting. It is about understanding the meaning. And His Holiness actually one day told me that it really looks like long time before. There were not such long sadhanas to be recited. A clever, experienced teacher tells the student, because in those days there was no writing, nothing. So the teacher gives a good explanation, then say, okay, now you think about what I've explained. So they think, that's enough. Then gradually people are not able to remember what the teacher said. Then somebody scribbled, started writing down. Even that was not so clear. Then, to make it clear, they wrote more and more. Now sadhanas have become so long that people are not able to visualize anything on the content, but have difficulty finishing the recitation, which honestly makes very much sense to me, at least for me, right? And in some cases, people like do all these sadhanas, recitations, but their behavior never changes. They remain angry as before. They remain greedy as before. What is the use, really? Okay?
Tashidali Geshe, my question is, what is an example of pure and unconditional love if it's not mothers and child love? Pure
Pure unconditional love, for example, if a a person or a good teacher who you never met before. And there is also no likelihood of meeting in the future also. And somebody just saves your life and gives you something, that's unconditional.
Thank you.
Now you're asking very nice questions, making my life simpler. So I can see I can see the change in you. You have more compassion now. Yes.
Actually, I have a confusion in the biography of Shantideva.
Yeah.
When during his journey towards the west, he faced hunger, and people did not have a food and during that time. So due to he begged for one ball, and he changed that one ball due to the power, he changed that one ball into
Many, yeah.
many. So I need an explanation on this, Geshe.
Yeah, because yeah, you're right. There are things which we will not be able to understand easily because we are measuring their spiritual level with our limited knowledge. So it's difficult to digest, right? But not easy, but we cannot deny that those things have not happened, right? So I think with your spiritual power, you may be able to do it, but I don't know really how they do it. But then, as I explained in the case of Nagarjuna, in his case, he was able to alleviate the hunger of many people because he used that expertise of transforming ordinary, irons into gold. This is really related to chemistry. So when you know certain formulas, then you can change ordinary stone into gold. And when you are able to do that, then of course you can alleviate the suffering of many people. So from there, what you need to know is there is a teaching in Tibetan Buddhism saying the power of material substances are unthinkable. Not only turning one ball into 100 balls, but the power of material substances are unthinkable. For example, how does aeroplane fly carrying 700 people in one of these big Boeings, they're like 2-3 story. How they made it fly with so many folks? I have no idea how they do this. I know it is done. I know it is true. It is unthinkable. Many things can be done. Meditation is unthinkable. If your concentration is really, really strong, and plus if you have accumulated a lot of positive merits in the past, you can transform many things. It is said that through the power of the Buddha, an ordinary substance will become food. Where there is, right? And similarly, power of meditation, unthinkable. If you do a little bit of meditation, you will get some idea why this is so. The transformative power. And the way if I don't know, but if I try to give you a clue, it probably is like this. Your body is made of 4 elements, right? So these 4 elements, air, water, heat, they basically come from the external 4 elements, right? So your 5 elements are very closely connected to the external 5 elements. Now through practice, through meditation, if you are able to control these elements, you can do miracles. So that is also one possibility. For example, people then gradually don't have to depend on external air, right? They don't have to depend on external material substances. They don't have to eat. all this is possible. We call with the food, there are different types of food. One is called food of meditation. You don't have to eat. And then ordinary food. And then food of your action. And then there is a third inconceivable thing which is called the power of mantra is unthinkable. You ask the question, what is the benefit of prayer? If you do it with the right motivation, the power is unthinkable. And one I remember is His Holiness told during one of his teaching, there is one monk from Lower Tantric College. He was with great faith, always reciting the wrathful mantra of Yamantaka. Right? So he was reciting this mantra so much, and gradually he himself became wrathful. So much so, if we just give one gaze to a dog out there, the dog will run away, winning, as if somebody had thrown a stone. This is not like telling a story, it really happens. And similarly, if you ever get an opportunity to see people who had killed many people, their physical, facial expression is different. A little bit wrathful, things like that. And then people who have, on the other hand, doing practice of compassion, so forth, just from outside you can find out they are very compassionate. So I'm just giving you a clue about the possibility. I don't know how, And then also depending upon your karma. For example, this glass of water, for us human beings is a glass of water, right? But for a hungry ghost, when he sees it only pus and blood. When the same liquid is seen by the celestial beings, they will see this as a nectar. It is because of one's karma, you see different things. Right? It's your karma. If still you are not clear, then I'll give you another example. For example, when you marry somebody, nobody tries to marry everybody, right? Among so many people, you fancy one person. Right? At least your perspective, that person is very agreeable. You like that very person. And you start thinking he's the best person in the whole world, probably, or at least in Ladakh. This not true. But is that wrong? Not wrong, because it serves your purpose. For you, it's good. It doesn't mean it's good for everybody. Doesn't mean this boy is handsome for everybody. Someone will say, he married such an ugly boy. It's really your perspective. So what I'm trying to say is, when you have this really enlightened perspective and love and compassion, you can create things also. You can create, like how the magicians create things. Have you watched some magics? Huh? So how do they do it? So something like that. If you know how to manipulate these material substances, you can do so many things. Right? Something like that. And then the power of karma is unthinkable. So there are many unthinkable things which we may not be able to understand right now. But with the modern discoveries, if you compare, then you will be able to understand, yes, there is nothing that is not possible. So therefore, Nagarjuna said, if emptiness is possible, everything is possible. If emptiness is not possible, nothing is possible. And it is because of this effect that things are devoid of independent existence. Thereby, they have dependent existence. Because of this, if you know how to put many causes and conditions together, you can make many things. Right? Okay? Jenny?
Julie Geshe. So, like you said, Geshe, that becoming older year by year, our mind become inactive. It could be based on focus level, remembering, etc. But it's doing meditation can change it, and I mean, does it active our mind? Because I saw a video of Mingyu Rinpoche where the foreigner researcher scanned his brain and found that his brain wave get increasing year by year because of doing meditation. What's your opinion on that?
Absolutely possible. Because your body is impacted by your mind. There was a piece on understanding emptiness. Understanding emptiness means seeing things as having no inherent independent existence. Majority of are not able to see it. Some people were able to see it. Who are these people? These are those people who have been doing meditation for a long time. Then their brain changes, and because of them, they are able to see things having no inherent existence. So the brain changes. Brain changes with repetition. And I give you a very convincing example. Right after the birth of the child is not able to speak, right? And how long a time takes for the child to speak up? Huh? Huh? 2 to 3 years. Any father, any mother here? 2 to 3 years. Anyway, it will take some time to be even able to say papa or mama, take some time. So how are they able to say papa or mama when initially they are not able to say anything? Because the child has been hearing papa, mama long time. Your mouth says it, that makes an impact on the brain, and then brain understands it, and then it is included in the dictionary of the neural pathways. So gradually, then you start speaking more and more, more and more. The more you speak, the more the roadway, the neural pathway is cleared. You're able to do it. So this, smooth neural pathways is possible because of repeated doing. When I was the last year before, I was so moved by this similarity of impact of meditation and training the brain. Same, exactly same. Exactly same. And then the almost like breakthrough finding is that since what the brain is able to convey and understand is dependent upon how you train the brain. So now it becomes crucial for us to train the mind in the positive things. Then the brain will become expert on it. Compassion, smooth flow. Loving kindness, smooth travel. Patience, smooth travel. Anger, oh, sorry, no, road is blocked. Because the brain is not trained, so it will not speak about that. Right? And there are curse, I mean, anyway, what, lunchtime? Last question, okay. Yeah.
From yesterday's, you mentioned follow or practice all the Buddha's teaching, and that will make you rich and successful. Do you really think by practicing Buddha's teaching, we can in this generation?
Yes.
Because where people take love, compassion, humbleness, and all that for granted, and all people care nowadays is for money and fame.
Yes. But they're not necessarily successful. All they care is money and name and fame, but there's no guarantee they will be successful. They may be able to make some money, they may be able to make some name, but they will, and at the end of the day, if you're devoid of this internal spiritual practice, the name will be a tainted name. Yes, sala khane wala bolte hai na. When you become, political leader, he leads a glorious life, but outside people are backbiting, sala chor aa gaya. And you're not able to rely upon anybody, trust anybody. You have to be very careful. I mean, read the story of Mao Zedong. When he finally became the chairman of the Chinese government, he was not able to sleep in one room peacefully. He used to change room almost every night, like that. So similarly, when I say, your spiritual practice will help you become rich, you're successful, I do not mean just keep sitting and reciting mantra and praying, then you will become rich and successful. I did not mean that. It means with the right motivation, right attitude, and appreciating your life, doing whatever you're doing, you're appreciating, enjoying. So when you're enjoying and appreciating means you will do that job properly. You will concentrate. And you will not engage in any harmful activities like taking drugs. So you're saving money, see? If you don't take drugs, you save money. If you don't smoke, save money. So many junk foods there which you don't take, you have so much money. I mean, I'm telling you this based on my own personal experience. I never worked for money, right? But never suffered from shortage of money. And right now, of course, I work in a institution, I get salary. But still, I don't make a special attempt to make money. If I can make a lot of money. I'm quite clever in that. Really. Because when I visit some restaurant, poor man, he's running a restaurant, but doesn't know how to do this. So my mind is a little bit like innovative. I can do that, but I never for money. But because I don't resort to drug, smoking, junk food, imagine how much money I'm saving. That's what I mean. If you don't have these good qualities, okay, you may be earning a lot of money, but then you will waste it for there. 2 years back, I was visiting New York. I was there for 2 weeks giving talks and teachings. And I learned many laborers there, they work very hard in the day. Then in the end of the day, they drink. All the money gone. So that's what I'm saying, right? She only made a lot of money, right? Yeah, okay.